Jan Bratt, and I'd like to read you my book, The Mitten. It's about snow and animals, two things that I love, and I hope you will too. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wriggled in feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox, trotting by, stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah, 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 ka-choo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens.
Hi, everybody. What did you think of the story of the mitten? Wasn't it really interesting how all those animals could fit in that one mitten? It would be like them being able to fit in your mitten. That would be really funny for a bear to fit in your mitten, or a fox. I bet a little mouse could fit in your mitten though. And that little mouse is what caused all the animals to go out of the mitten. So we're gonna make a mitten today. And we're gonna start by drawing our mitten. And then we're gonna decorate our mitten. And you can decorate your mittens however you want. I'm gonna draw my mitten with a marker so you can see my mitten, but you can draw your mitten with whatever you have at home. It could be crayon, it could be colored pencil, marker, whatever you have at home. So I'm gonna start by putting my screen down so you can see my paper. And I am going to start by drawing the shape of my mitten. So our mitten has a rounded bottom. So our mitten is gonna look like this on the bottom. And then it's gonna come up like this. And then it has a thumb that comes around and in a little bit, and then it comes back up like that. So that's our mitten. Almost looks like a pot holder too for some of you that might help cook at home. And you can always put a nice big cuff on your mitten, and that's the part that goes around your wrist. I'm gonna put some lines like this on my mitten, because maybe I have a nice striped cuff. And I might decide I want to put maybe a snowflake on my mitten. So maybe I want to put a nice snowflake on my mitten. So I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to put some little lines that come off from my mitten. I have to think about how do I want to color my mitten? And I'm going to put a wavy line in here because maybe it's the yarn in my mitten. So it has a wavy pattern here for the nice yarn, showing the nice texture in my mitten. And I'm gonna keep making that nice wavy line. That's gonna show the nice yarn texture in my mitten. Because when you think about how mittens are nice and warm, it's because of all of that nice warm yarn that makes our mittens. And that's why Baba was so concerned about our character keeping his mittens so his hands would stay nice and warm. So I'm going to stop there with drawing my mitten, and I will show you my mitten at the end of the video. I can't wait to see yours. Remember, send them to me on Artsonia, and I can't wait to see them. Bye.